Just back from IT Nation Europe. What a fantastic event. It was in London, United Kingdom. It's early March 2025, and it was a sold out event. ConnectWise did an incredible job. So many partners, so interesting to hear different perspectives and different kind of ways on how MSPs are operating in Europe. Still have the same problems, but just a little bit of a twist. But I ended up doing 10 conversations, interviews, podcasts. There was 2 other podcasters there. It was just a great event. My first conversation with Paul Croker, another podcaster, really fascinating gentleman. I'm so glad we met. Sean Lardo was next, of course, with his recent promotions and everything he's doing with IT Nation. Always love catching up with Sean and talking about IT Nation and Pitch It. Heather Alford, oh my goodness, what a great conversation with Heather. She is somebody you're going to get to know and somebody you're going to really like. Paul McNeil has been at ConnectWise for a while. He's from Australia. Interesting transformation from MSP to a vendor to now with ConnectWise. James Grant, fascinating gentleman there in the UK with Vodafone. Dan Scott, the MC of the entire event. They're heading up Europe of IT Nation. Really lots of energy. Great MC. Really made everybody feel at home. Patrick Beggs, of course, the CISO, ConnectWise. Always interesting to peek into security and to his life. Peter Kajawa runs all of IT Nation and the many plates he's now spinning and why he likes wine so much. Mikhail Stefanko, fascinating MSP from Slovakia. Fascinating man and what his issues are there. And I can't wait to see what happens with him. And then I finished out with episode number 600 with my good friend Austin Clark from Scotland. And we talk about his MSP and his challenges. Great event there in London. Manny Ravello was there, a lot of the keynotes, a lot of information and time well spent with partners, with vendors, and with MSPs there in London. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Found myself at 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. I took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People ask me, how'd you do it? What's the secret? I need to lose weight. How'd you do it? How did I lose the weight? Just one word, discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission? How do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision, growth through learning from others.
I'm very excited to talk to you.
And you.
So bread and pizza? Why do you like me?
It's weird. I like making things, and there's something very visceral.
Yes.
And like visual about, it's weird, about bread. Can't believe we're talking about that.
It's
but
old. Yeah. It's thousands of years old.
Yeah, it's like stuff goes in a
Three
bowl.
ingredients.
And stuff I like to eat comes out. That's the thing. So yeah, it was also a lockdown thing of like I could do with some habits of what can I practice.
And you still do it now?
Yeah.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, love it. I can't say necessarily you'd want to eat my pizza. I'm not claiming greatness. I'm just claiming repetition.
So you got to go high heat with pizza.
Yeah, but then you can scorch the flour as well. So you got it. Yeah. You what they call it leoparding, I think, on the base.
Interesting.
But not just burned.
And so is it thin?
Depends on how brave I'm feeling with when it's going to rip.
Because you can't have it ripped.
Do you want to connect with business leaders and engage consumers who take action? The Joey Pinz podcast delivers high-impact conversations to an audience of decision makers, entrepreneurs, and professionals across multiple industries. A fast-growing audience of highly engaged listeners, both B2B and B2C. Millions of listens and views across YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Brands, that sponsor us see real engagement, conversations, and brand loyalty. Whether you're looking to sell a service, promote a product, or establish thought leadership, our sponsorships offer premium ad placements, exclusive episode sponsorships, full season branding, and event partnerships. Don't just advertise, become part of the conversation. Visit us at joeypinz.com/sponsor to get started, or email us at sales@joeypinz.com. Joey Pinz Podcast, where thought leaders, brands connect.
No.
And it's white or is it red?
Red.
You making your own? What are you putting on there? What kind of tomatoes?
Keep it simple. San Marzano
San Marzano.
tomatoes was the tip I read online.
Yes.
And so I've kind of gravitated to ever since. But simple, a little bit of salt,
Right.
maybe a little bit of basil as well, and that's it. Keep it simple.
And are they whole tomatoes? You're chopping them? You
In a tinned.
Yes.
And then just with a stick blender and
I
just
say,
little pulses.
mix it in.
Yeah, with a stick blender. But don't like whiz it, but just
Right.
like jab it and then let the blade do
Sure,
the work.
because it's still going to be kind of chunky.
Yeah.
And then any protein? What are you putting on top of any?
I'm quite a simple guy, so it's pepperoni.
I say.
Or a hot salami, or maybe a bit of the spicy sausage. I can't forget andouille. That's it. Yeah, I love it.
So the wife and the daughters, they say, "Hey, it's pizza night," or is it just one day a week? It's always pizza.
Yeah, well, usually like the girls will say "Daddy pizza." Like we want Daddy pizza.
I say. And you're cooking it inside or out? Out. So you have Okay, so this is serious, Dan. So you have an outside. Is it brick?
No, it is portable.
I've seen
gas
these.
powered. Yeah,
I've seen these.
oven. Yeah, I bought it and loved it so much they did a crowdfunding campaign. I invested in the company.
Did you
it sounds
really?
grand. It's not grand, by the way. It's because it's such a cool thing. It's
Pizza
such a cool
stone?
thing. Well, in there, so huge chunky. It's like 25 kilos. This thing weighs.
It's only made to big pizza. This
yeah,
oven.
it's all in there. So in this oven, it's awesome. It makes me look good. You know what I mean? Which is quite hard.
And it comes out crispy.
Yeah, some of the time.
And can you make it thick if you wanted to?
Yeah, I wouldn't know how.
I say.
Not without it being like too hard to eat. Like deep dish isn't something I've never tried it. I'd love to.
And do you have dough always ready?
No.
No. So you do it at the moment. But it doesn't
I
rise though.
I buy some sometimes to keep it in the freezer just in case.
Yes.
I found a company. I just fell in love with the domain name. So the other things in the market may vary. I had no commercial interest, by the way, but it was Great Balls of Flour, and I just love the domain name. I'm like, that's worth money.
That's a great name.
It's worth money. So I need to look no further.
I love cooking there because I get to walk into the kitchen and it's relatively clutter-free. And I pull ingredients out and I'm starting to cook and I'm feeding people and I'm cleaning as I go, feeding myself. And then when I'm done, I get to walk away and the kitchen is the way I left it. Nowhere in my professional life do I get to see a project from beginning to end. I'm always delegating things off or it's taking a long time. So it's wonderful that I'm feeding people, but it's also this great sense of completion. You must get that.
Yeah, I agree. And also you zone out while you're doing it. That's what I love.
Yes.
I would say potter. You know, I just mill about the kitchen, a bit of this, bit of that. And I love it. I love it. It's just, I find it quite therapeutic. And as I said, the results may vary. I'm not claiming output here.
It can't be perfection every time.
I'm claiming activity, not output.
And do they say it's a good one tonight? It's not a good one tonight. Do they give you honest feedback?
Yeah, yeah. My kids are your harshest critics.
Really? And can you have leftovers?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah. If it's worth rounding the dough up just to use up the cheese and use up the sauce, then yeah, absolutely.
And the cheese using fresh mozzarella or using grated?
If it's quick, if it was like you want something out of nothing, just get the grated bag.
Yes.
If I've got a bit of planning, then fior latte cubes usually because it's just a little bit less work for me. But yeah, good.
Pizza cutter, you're cutting big slices?
No, usually quite small.
Really?
Yeah, usually quite small.
Thin?
Yes.
Thin. And they're round. The pizza's round or rectangular?
Well, yeah, roundish.
Yeah, you're spreading it out. So how long does it go in for?
A minute and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
And how long does it take to heat the oven?
About 30 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah, about 30 or so minutes.
So that's
but
getting
remember,
1,000
it's cold.
degrees.
Remember, it's cold.
Oh, it's cold here.
In a colder climate, so you've got to get it. Yeah, you've got to battle the elements for a bit of thermal convection going on in there. In the summer, 15, 20.
I say, and it's got to be outside. Why? Because
Because of gas.
Oh, it's gas.
Yeah,
it's
'cause of gas.
propane. I say. Oh, it's natural gas, not propane.
Whatever.
What
I
do
would
you
just
use
call
here?
it barbecue gas. I don't know.
I
Well, it
see.
comes in the cylinder for the. Yeah.
Wow. So when you venture out, do you go try pizza to compare?
Yeah, I love. I had pizza last night. Actually,
Is there good pizza around here?
There is good pizza. Around
Come
here.
on.
Yeah, there's some good pizzas here.
Now
Absolutely.
then, I'm from part of the States where I'm from New Haven, Connecticut. So we're outside New York. We're very particular. We claim we're the best. But I like all kinds of pizza. Even Chicago pizza is like the thick style.
Yeah.
I would argue that it's more of a cheese casserole. It tastes great, but I don't think it's really pizza. And excuse me for my Chicago friends, but I still love it. It's still good pizza. So when you venture out, like Greek style is cooked in the pan in the States.
Okay.
But here, you're not cooking in the pan. You're putting it right on.
Yeah.
So when you try these types, what do you think?
Yeah, I appreciate everything. I had deep dish for the first time in Hawaii, so I
Hawaii.
appreciate it's not exactly Chicago.
Yes.
But I was told it was very good by people that know their stuff.
I
They
see.
said it's not Chicago, but it's pretty good.
Right. Did it have pineapple and ham?
No, I just went with like salamis.
I say.
And, yeah,
The
meats
Hawaiian
and stuff.
pizza, they go with pineapple. It's very sweet. Not my favorite, but I'll still eat it. Even bad pizza, I'll still end up eating it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you going to do?
It'll
It's
get lonely otherwise.
A bad hamburger, though, I might not finish.
no.
But bad pizza, I'll probably eat.
We've all had a burger where you could throw it against the wall and catch it on the return, couldn't you? There's nothing worse. Yeah.
And so, pandemic, you didn't cook.
No,
Oh,
I
you
did.
did?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I mean,
There was doing it for a while.
there was very little else to do. We were very fortunate here as well that we had a good summer in 2020. Wow, the world would have been harder with a bad summer. So we had this wonderful sunshine that helped us make the best of a a weird time, strange time.
Wow. Yeah, I love it. I should really invest in one. I've seen these ovens before. And yeah, and I really should. Because it warms up and then it's for a minute and it's done. So while it's warming up, you just prepare.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're shaping the dough, you're getting out, and also if you want to do some fun stuff with with steaks or with anything that you can high sear, then just putting a cast iron in there, putting a skillet in there, and you've got searing temperatures that you just won't get in a broiler in an oven.
Wow, I got to give this consideration. Yeah. We're here in London. It's IT Nation Europe. It's wonderful. The biggest sold-out event ever. What are some of your goals here? You're emceeing. You're doing a great job up there on stage, Dan. Everybody here knows you. Tell me, what are some of your goals here?
Yeah, so as I said in the keynote on Monday, value for our attendees. I take people's time and the investment of time that they've given us. I take that really, really seriously, and the whole team do. And there is no shortage of options for people to where they spend their time and where they can invest their time, especially in events. But the team and we set out when we were designing this, and that was our North Star. Kept coming back to, we want to help, like I said on Monday, we want to help make our attendees bigger, better, faster, stronger, more productive as people, as in their careers, as teams and businesses. And we've set out to do that. How can we highlight and share community through the agenda? So the more community speakers, the better. And how can we really focus in on creating that value for attendees and making them say, actually, do you know what? Out of everything in the year that we'd move, I'm going to IT Nation. I'm going to be at IT Nation because it delivers.
And because there's so many events, Dan, right? And they're leaving their office. You've got to make it worth their while. And the feedback I'm getting, the MSPs they're loving it. Many first timers. I hosted the first timers with Brad and with Sean, and I don't know how many were in there, maybe 100. And did our best to kind of get them going. The problem is a lot of the introverts don't like to talk, so you got to kind of pull them out of their shell a little bit. But it's just a wonderful event, and it's great feedback here.
Thank you. That's why we do it. That's why to see people and think if I could think that in a couple of years somebody has a true breakthrough, and by the way, they've done all the work to make that happen. They have success, and that success is theirs and theirs alone. But they could say, do you know what? At the acorn of this oak tree, it started there. This is where I had the idea, or this is where I met the person who unlocked that success for me or helped me on my way, and that's why I do it. And that's why we do it as a team. And I
talked to a lot of. I'm sorry to interrupt. We talked to a lot of MSPs in the States, and generally there's about three things that keep them up at night. And I've bounced it off a lot of MSPs here, seem to ring true here in the United Kingdom as well. Number one being cybersecurity. They're worried about their clients getting hacked, their flat rate, they've got to allocate resources, clients down, everybody loses. Two is human capital. If their technicians leave, how they're going to replace them, how they're going to get new technicians. There's lots of competition out there. Big companies are paying a lot of money for technicians. Third is just general growth. They're tech-led. They're not good at some of those soft skills. Inorganic growth is very tough to achieve. Private equity has poured in hundreds of billions of dollars, and so their friends are selling and they're buying nice cars. How can I, grow organically? What do you think about those three challenges?
Yeah, I'd say they translate completely across the channel. I'd say it's very, very relevant over here, all three of which. Cybersecurity, touch on that one first. I don't think our industry's ever seen any challenge we've ever faced where so much of what people have worked so hard for could be undone so quickly, could be threatened in such a small space of time, and it's scary and it's awful. The challenges that people have to go through in order to protect their house, to protect what they built and protect their clients, is huge. When it comes to human, when it comes to people, of course, our businesses are our people.
Yeah.
That's it. Your brand is your people. They're who talk to and meet with your clients. They're who show them the value that your brand goes out there to deliver, and it's so crucial. And yes, you're right. First of all, finding people in a stiff talent market and talent competition, but also, how do you grow people? How do you grow? How can you take people and take them on a journey with you so you're not always having to go and look into, we need to expand a position, we need to find somebody from another firm. How can we be in a position where actually we're developing our own talent? And that's something that people are starting to move into and nurture. And business growth, that's where our keynote comes from.
Yes.
I can't wait for tomorrow morning.
Really?
I can't wait, because when talking to partners and talking to members of the IT Nation, and again, those traditional routes to market aren't yielding the same fruit that they used to. Referral business will only take you so far, and you can't outspend some of the people who are in our industry today. You can't go dollar for dollar, pound for pound with some of the businesses that are out there and the scale that they're operating at. So how can you better position yourself, to quote one of Daniel Priestley's book titles, to be a key person of influence, to be able to go out there and create value and create a brand that people will respond to, that will, when they think about a choice of an IT partner or a technology partner, they remember what they've seen. So that's where I'm really excited for our keynote speaker tomorrow, because that, again, I see the value of what the books he's written and the content that he creates that we can bring to the community. And he's got this amazing ability, and I love this in people. I'm quite a wordy person.
Yes.
Apologies.
No.
But he can take these massively complex problems and complex challenges and distill them into like condensed. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. When you're making the agenda, Dan, and you're trying, when you're doing everything here, where it is, the agenda, how it's laid out, is the MSP? It's kind of when I talk to an author, I say, where is the reader? Where is the reader when you're writing this? Are you constantly thinking of the reader? Is that the same process here?
Yeah, 100%. And you got to look at it, and you got to ask yourself really hard questions, because sometimes it's not that you set out to do something that later you think was a bad idea, because if not, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. But you got to look back and say, right, if I put myself in the shoes of someone who has given valuable time out of their business, do I believe this represents value? Do I believe there's content there for me? Whether I'm at one level operational maturity or revenue or any metric you want to throw, or a different one, do I see value and do I see return? And sometimes, unfortunately, you then got to ask yourself tough questions and cut stuff, pull stuff. Even when it was your idea, you thought it was great, you run with it and you go, oh no. Doesn't work, because otherwise people come and say, I may come back, I may not, and rightly so. We should have discerning choices about where people want to spend their time, because there's no shortage, as we said earlier, there's no shortage of options, are there?
No, there's none. Why should an MSP partner with ConnectWise?
I think it comes down to exactly that word, partner, and I'm biased and privileged in a way, because I was a partner of ConnectWise when I was part of an MSP.
I didn't know that.
And for me, it was all about that partnership. It was all about, actually, it's not just about a product or products or features. It's about how can we add value to your business, to your people, to your teams. How can we help you understand how to unlock success, how can we help you to see what comes next, that doesn't just revolve around a license and agent, a platform, or anything, any term that you care to throw at it. And the partners I see who are, given the metrics you want to use, the most successful, should we say, quote unquote, are the ones that engage holistically with a company, the ones that engage, that are all in. And I don't just mean all in terms of the number of products that they're using. I mean in how they engage, especially with community, and how with what we build. Again, there are no stipulations to be here this week. You don't have to use a certain piece of software. Our Evolve program, our Evolve peer group program that I have the privilege of leading here in Europe, there are no stipulations on which pieces of software you use. And there are, I want people that are going to come and share and learn and hold their peers accountable to grow, and in return receive the same themselves. And so that's what I think sets us apart. I think it's the true... Yes, we innovate. Yes, Manny was speaking about that this morning on the keynote stage, and Jeff was demonstrating that from the keynote stage to show people what we're doing and what things are live today, especially in the ASIO platform. But the whole partnership is much, much bigger.
Tell me about your days as an MSP.
Yeah, loved it. So I was privileged to be, I moved from internal IT in 2006-ish, and somehow about 25-year-old me, who didn't have a lot of epiphanies, I can tell you, managed to have this one pretty good thought of what happens if I work for a business that does that. What I do is the business. That would be interesting, rather than a technology team in a corporate that has its challenges and is always a good budget to cut somewhere from an internal tech team. And it was So and by some miracle, I did, because that was a great decision. So I've been privileged to be part of 2 MSPs during my career. So it was just over 13 years across 2 businesses, 9 years in the latterly. And it was the only reason for the 2 was because we geographically relocated.
I see.
Kids came along. Living in London with kids is tough.
Is it?
So not a lot of space. You want more, and more comes at a cost. And privilege. So through project management roles, operations management, and latterly for about 5-6 years, in, I guess, what you'd loosely call a business transformation role, I think is how it would be badged, of working with a co-founder of the company to look at what happens as we grow, how do we evolve, how do we change, how do we make sure our processes reflect where we're heading, how do we build for where we're going to be rather than reacting to where we are and the things that don't work anymore. And it was an amazing journey. Very, very fortunate to have an amazing leader and mentor that helped. Really, so I describe it as like taking the blinkers off. With me. I remember I was from a technical background, and I was, true liberating leadership of go and deliver this, and I trust you to do it.
Wow.
I empower you to do it. I'll support you, but I'm not here to do it for you. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
It's amazing sometimes how owners, the less they touch, the more they improve. Yeah. Were you a tech person? What were you doing at the MSP?
So originally, I joined as leading a group of partners, of accounts, and looking after from a relationship standpoint. Moved there into leading an office, a branch office, and moved from there into, as I said, the offer came to work with one of the founders and say, we need to look at how we do what we do here.
Wow.
And I need someone that knows the business to come and help me do it. And there was a team of us that went to work on doing just that, about how we do what we do and how we improve it and what's going to come next, and how do we not just grow it, but also how can we improve what we do? How do we make sure that it meets the needs of the clients and the team? And it was an amazing adventure, absolutely amazing adventure.
Wow.
I loved every minute.
Were you part of the HTG? Were you part of the peer group back then?
No, we weren't back then. So again, it was although I attended IT Nation conferences as part of a partnership with ConnectWise and did just a business at the time with founders. It's got to be right. It's got to be the right personality fit for what you do. And for the 2 majority founder shareholders, it was a different journey for them.
I see. And you parted ways. Why?
The business was acquired, successfully acquired. So we acquired a number of businesses on our journey. The business itself was successfully acquired, and an amazing success story there. And I love founder exits and success is amazing, because people work so long and hard. The business is the extra child at the dinner table, as someone once told me, and I love that. And no one sees the pain is the wrong word, but no one sees the challenges that business founders have to navigate ever, because they internalize it and they keep it, they take it home. and they wear it, and
They
and it's an absolute calling, and amazing people, and I'm privileged to work with them. But it's anyway. So the business was successfully acquired, and after a period of time, I decided to see what was going on in the world. I was very fortunate at the time that this role I knew my predecessor in the role, and one conversation sort of led to another. It's been a wonderful 4.5 years.
And without that MSP experience, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing.
Never.
Right.
And it was, I learned so much. And both from the team around me, from amazing leadership that helped me to grow, and gave me the hard truths. We all need it.
Yes.
You might not like the taste of the medicine.
Truths. Yes.
Doesn't mean you don't need it.
I sold my MSP in 2019. I ended up working with a lot of MSPs now. When I meet with the young MSPs, they want advice. So the 3 pieces of advice I give them very quickly, with just barely understanding them, is 1, join a peer group. When I did it, it turned my business completely around, and I wasn't by myself anymore. I was able to. It was a game changer. 2 is adopt a business operating system. There's plenty of them. I like a couple, doesn't matter. Just join one, get one, and use it. And lastly, in areas that you need it, hire a coach. Some are just a little, they don't want to, they could do it themselves. They don't want to hire a coach. What do you think about those 3 pieces?
Behind every great leader is a great coach. Behind every great athlete is a great coach.
Tiger Woods
It's no different.
has a coach.
It's no different.
Yes.
It's no different.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who somebody is or how big an organization they lead. They've all got a coach.
Yes.
So yes, I would agree. I'd probably add, have a plan. And by the way, you will get that through joining a peer group, because
Right.
that's what we teach people to do. But know what it is that you're aiming towards. Have that future vision, because if not, you're going to be operating in the moment. And we know in our world, it's so easy to operate in the moment, because it's like the triangle of chaos. Whether I want to call it that way, you've got team, you've got clients, and you've got technology. And in the middle of those 3 things is a whirlwind, because one of them is always kicking off in some way. There's always a challenge somewhere, and so you've got to have a plan that you're going to execute to give you the altitude to be able to make decisions. Because if not, you're making decisions in the moment, and you're making them based on the current fire that you're holding the hose for. That doesn't always go well in the long term.
Now, this is a rumor I was just told, but generally speaking, peer groups aren't as popular here in the United Kingdom. Companies don't want to share. It's
a newer concept.
It's a newer concept.
Say overall. It's not new, but it's newer. Geography does play its part to an extent. It's a smaller rock.
Right.
We're a smaller.
I guess that plays a part of it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yes.
It does. But also, I think it's just things take time. Once a concept comes around, it takes time. You've always got your early adopters at the top of the curve. But then for the rest of the curve to come just takes a little bit of time. The success that people see, I said, it's a privilege to the work I do with Evolve.
Yes.
It's such a privilege to see the journeys that people go on. And I don't just mean it. M&A is an easy one because it's so prevalent in the market. We're not an M&A community, but it just so happens that that's the destination that a number of people have chosen.
Certainly.
But also to see people achieving, one Evolve member shared with me a little while ago, he said, I just never would have dreamt that, say, 5 years ago, my business would provide me the life that it does today. And by the way, that isn't just the crass stuff like money. It's the time, it's the headspace, it's the focus on things, not just work. Being able to spend more time with your family, being able to consider other entrepreneurial options in the world outside of your MSP business. I love that. Absolutely love it.
Do you facilitate a group?
I don't know, because of making sure I'm present
for everything.
around our meetings, and making sure that we're running the event, and making sure that everyone's needs are being catered to and attended to. But I've been privileged to be invited to sit in with some groups on sessions where appropriate. Of course, peer groups are private places.
Yes,
it's the only way they work.
Yes.
And I'd love to add value where I can.
I've been a member, I've been a facilitator. It's always tough, and perhaps you have this too, where you see what the problem is, but you want them to discover it themselves.
Got to.
And so it's very tough to say, okay, start asking more questions, because a lot of times the growth gets stunted by the owner. And it's a tough lesson, and it's their baby, and that's, I guess, where that coaching comes in.
Absolutely. Of remove the emotion from the conversation, because we're all emotionally attached to things in our lives, especially if they're our idea. It's a hard pill to let go of, hard pill to swallow. Just to let go of that one. So how can you remove yourself? And it's trying to take a bit of a throwaway, that shareholder's perspective. If you're an investor, if you're a shareholder, what would you say? If you didn't know the people, what would you say? If it was you advising me, what would you tell me?
Right.
And my situation was identical. And also, how have you arrived? How have you caused the problem? We're usually the architect of most of our own situations, good and bad.
We are.
And what are you doing? What can you do more of or less of to stop this from happening? It's tough.
Very tough. Oftentimes, I get asked for advice, and I say, well, here's a situation that was similar. This is what I did, and this is what I learned. I want to be careful of like giving quick advice. Just here's what I learned, and hopefully that helps. I'll give you. My father's an Italian immigrant, so he came to the United States with barely any money. Lived with a cousin. And we started the MSP in the 90s, Dan, and we were doing pretty well, and we were getting bigger and bigger. And I remember telling my father, hey, I'm going to get a bigger office because we're running out of space. And he says to me, Tony and Luigi would, every day they got a truck, and they'd go from Italy, they'd go up to Switzerland and buy watermelon for 1,000 pounds and come back to Italy and sell them for 1,000 pounds. And after a month, Tony said, we're not making any money. And Luigi said, we need a bigger truck. So this was his way of telling me, look, you're fine. You're fine where you are. Yeah. And I just never forget that kind of lesson.
Absolutely. You can't grow your way out of a problem either.
Yes.
Just grow your way further in it.
Has there been anything in the last month or so, Dan, that you've changed your mind on?
Oh, it's a good one. I'm going to keep out some of the stuff around certain worldviews and things like that. You know what I mean? Because
whatever you like,
stuff like that. Can
whatever
get
you
like.
like.
The stuff like that is personal. I'm very happy to say I do. Have the ability to change my worldview on things if given evidence.
Yes.
But they. It's a good answer. Let me have a think.
Sure, you think about it. I like to think that I can change my mind on anything given new evidence.
Yes.
Imagine if we all thought that way.
I love discovering things.
Yes.
I'm an inquisitive. If you look at buying styles, I'm an analytical buyer. I understand everything about what I'm going to do. I'll give you every option. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I think it's I enjoy it.
When you bought that pizza oven, how many did you go through?
All of them. I could probably tell you some random thermal statistic that I don't even know what it means.
Really?
If you know what I mean. I don't know, but I can tell you. And and things come around, so I enjoy detail. But also, when you learn detail, sometimes you think, well, actually, what I've learned there forces me to reframe how I view the situation.
Yeah,
but it's healthy.
It is really healthy. It is healthy, and it's a wonderful notion. I record a lot here, and I've got hundreds of hours, and I remember people recorded and up, on YouTube and at different places, and people say to me, "Aren't you scared that an AI knows how you think and what you're going to do?" I said, "How can it? I change my mind all the time." Given new evidence, what I thought about something 6 months ago certainly could change now, given new evidence, whatever. So it can't possibly know what I think because I don't know what I think. I think it's a healthy way to go.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Rigid, being too rigid of thought is, I think it could be dangerous in some situations, but also you're not going to open your mind up to things that otherwise could be great because everything's predetermined.
Yes. I have to continually learn. Yeah. What motivates you, Dan?
Helping people. Easy answer. Always has. I value service. I value the concept of people of people helping others, and I subscribe to it totally. Making a difference. I would say I have a privilege of being a really, really small part in our community's journeys, and it is a really small part. But it's a privilege to do so, and it's an honor to be invited to do so. And seeing people's success and knowing, as I said, that I had a tiny little role to play in there somewhere, and I had a part. I love it.
Yeah,
I do.
Impact. So given that motivation, how do you measure success?
In in how people take, learn, adapt, and utilize the experiences, not just the knowledge, not just about content, but the experiences that we can help provide them with. You know, how can we see people go on to do amazing things and unlock success for them? And they do it for themselves, by the way, 100%. They do it themselves. It doesn't matter who a keynote speaker is or whatever, you can take notes, but you got to go and do it.
Wow.
You do the hard yards. And so credit always to the people. But how people can go and unlock success for themselves. And that, but again, doesn't always mean money.
Right.
And it doesn't always mean, it can be in a lot of different ways. It could be contentment with what they have, or realization that, do you know what, I'm pretty good. But one of the first things that most entrepreneurs will say to me is somewhere, I will distill it, of, it's not mine isn't very good. My business, mine is what it is. I say, how long have you been running your business for? And I'd say 15 years. I said, right. It's 14 and a half years past the fact that you could claim what you've just claimed. I said, you are building people's careers. You are paying their mortgages. You are helping them grow as human beings. You are giving people a chance. Give yourself credit.
Yeah, all too often we don't see that. I remember we made a couple of acquisitions, and we made a big one, and we had a picnic. We all got together. And I remember we were like 40, 50 employees, and employees were bringing their grandkids. And then I remember thinking to myself, this little thing that I started in my father's garage is now
Isn't it amazing?
benefiting grandkids. And I remember like getting a little stressed. I'm like, I really got to straighten up here because I'm affecting generations now. So when MSPs, even any business owners, have that realization, it's a real thing. And sometimes they need to reward themselves.
They do.
And a little bit. Yeah.
As I said, for all the hard yards that they put in, and all the times that, pardon the throwaway comments, but like leaders eat last. And, all the times that let's face it, they didn't pay themselves because they paid their team. And they went, it doesn't matter about money, they went without so that others could have. And to build something which represents them, their legacy, their beliefs. Yeah, I'm passionate about promoting and showcasing that with people about all the amazing things that they do, because it's something that doesn't happen, because as I said earlier, entrepreneurs internalize it all.
Yeah.
They take it on the chin, whatever you want to call it. They move on, and they wear it on their shoulders, and they muscle. But every now and again, they deserve the right to sit back and go, do you know what? We've done all right.
Yeah,
We've done good.
Started the MSP in the 90s, Dan, was working way too hard, putting my health in the back seat, 14, 16-hour days. I'm at the doctor, and she tells me that I'm 340 pounds. So I got that converted, so 155 kilos. And she says to me, if I don't lose this weight, I've never been that weight before. If I don't lose this weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. My daughter was just born, scared the life out of me. I'm driving home, punching the steering. What have I done to myself? It's no longer me. It's now a family. I can't do this. Spent the next 6-7 months, lost 130 pounds, which is about 60 kilos. Kept it off. So you can't look at it as a finishing line, right? I mean, it's lifelong changes. So when I tell people this, how'd you do it? What's your secret? And there's no secret. Discipline. That's how I did it. I want to do it. Discipline, motivation, focus. How does discipline play a role in your life, Dan Scott?
Yeah, because you do what you focus on, and you focus on what's important to you. It's that simple. We all find a way. You found a focus because you found it for your little girl.
Right.
And for your family, for your wider family. You found that. Beforehand, it would have just been someone saying, this isn't good. Here, let me show you a chart. You should be in the middle here. You're not. And then you might have been tempted to just go, I'll be fine. I'll be okay. I've got stuff to do. I'm busy. But then you found something that can focus on. I'm a yes person, which can be dangerous because I can be my own worst enemy of saying yes to things. And then they could be 3 months away. And then by the time it comes around, I realize I've got too much on. I've overcommitted myself, and I've got to struggle through it. So discipline a lot for the moment for me through some great mentoring and coaching. And people like Laurie Sorensen and Brad Scow would say, you need to get better at it. You view it as letting people down. They don't.
Right.
They view it as you just informing them that you can't help right now, but you don't see that. So you've got to say, for me, trying to guard my time. But focus on what's important, but distill down why it's important. Right? It's not just to say you should work hard. Of course you should. We all should. But why? What are you going to deliver with that? Or you should, using your advice of health and health and self-well-being. Why? What's the reason behind that? It's like with James Clear with Atomic Habits, isn't it?
Yes.
I will do this to become or to be, because that last link in there is the crucial part that's going to tell your brain why to do the hard yards when it's not easy.
Right.
If not, when it's a nice sunny day, we all go for a run, and when it's not, we unlock the iPad and watch Netflix. The bit that makes the difference is what's in it. What's in it for you? Sometimes you're allowed to be selfish, and it's So I try, discipline, try and maintain it in terms of what do I want to do? How do I get there? And how do I move this forward? I say that like I do it successfully. Don't.
Right. We all need help there. Yeah. As a child, was discipline instilled in the household, or was it kind of assumed?
My parents always had something that I've carried forward with our children when asked of, you just try your best. Your best is always good enough, always. And you realize in later life how well you interpreted that when you were younger. And so never with a results driven, like you must attain X or we expect Y. It was just, we expect your best. We expect you to make an effort and show up, turn up and care about what you deliver and put your all in. And that's all I still hold true. And you've got to ask yourself, if you're doing something where you don't feel your best is where the bar it needs to be, is it because you're doing the wrong things? Is it because you're not passionate about what you do and you don't want to go the extra mile to help people and to execute at a high level? If you're having to really consciously commit to that, I'd question what you're doing. I'd have to think twice about going the extra mile for my family, just as you didn't.
Right. Don't even think twice.
Of course you don't.
Yeah. Your brand deserves to be in front of the right audience decision makers, entrepreneurs, and professionals who are ready to take action. That's exactly who listens to the Joey Pinz podcast. Thousands of engaged business leaders and consumers tune in every week. Millions of views and listens across YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Sponsors see real impact, higher engagement, brand trust, and conversations. We offer strategic partnerships tailored to your goals, including targeted ad placements, branded guest appearances, multi-episode and event sponsorships. Make your brand part of the conversation. Let's grow together. Visit joeypinz.com/sponsor to explore sponsorship opportunities, or email us at sales@joeypinz.com. The Joey Pinz podcast, where brands and thought leaders connect. So your message to MSPs this week here in London finally is?
Find your community and build your community. Said it from main stage on Monday. Software will only take you so far. Community will allow you to truly achieve your vision and exceed it. And in an industry where I'm a technical person at heart, I was really good at Exchange and adequate at Exchange and VMware once upon a time. Those were my things.
Wow.
I'm sure you've defragged a couple of Exchange stores in your time.
Yes.
Yeah, we all sat and watched that progress bar at some point. Yeah. But it's the community around you that are truly going to enable you to hit those high highs and are going to enable you to exceed and achieve. And that's the message here. Build your community. I want people to look back in a couple of years' time, be able to look back and see those conversations they had with someone in the room, wherever the room may be, and say, actually, do you know what? They helped to show me what good looked like, or they helped to tell me what I could be doing. And I've taken that and I've stuck it in the back of my head and I've run with it all these years, and now look at what I'm doing.
That's a wonderful notion. I'm so glad we finally met. You're doing such a great job here in Europe, and the emceeing at this event. I really appreciate your time today. Anybody watching or listening, how can they get in touch with you?
LinkedIn, easiest way. Find me on LinkedIn and drop me a message. I'd love to hear from you.
Dan Scott with 2 T's?
Yes.
Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with 1 or 2 of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources, and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Disciplined Conversations.